Hey, welcome to another intro here for the Supercast.
Yes. Hi, I'm here too.
Bender's here. We're just sitting here.
I wish you had a fireplace because we could have had a nice fireside chat tonight.
Well, there is a fireplace, but it's being covered up by the couch.
Yeah, well,
it's right behind us because
that is true.
It doesn't work.
Well, we had a Fireplace-Side chat.
I'd like to get it working at some point.
That'd be nice. My parents have a fireplace too that doesn't work.
It's unfortunate.
It is.
It's a very cool feature to have in your house.
It is.
And it's very disappointing when you have it and it doesn't function properly.
Yeah.
But, I'm not a chimney sweep, so I can't just get up in there and...
Is that what you need? Is that you just need to...
I guess.
Unclog it?
Something, yeah.
Because it's just a tube in your house, right?
It is, yeah. But you need, like, Dick Van Dyke or whoever to come over magically clean it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the intro to the show. We talked about some horror films and some comic books. We've got Star Wars news, video game news with The Last of Us and Death Stranding.
Yep. Rogue One comes out next week, and we had a lengthy discussion about Batman versus Superman because I finally just watched it.
Yep.
So we talked about that a lot, and
Christmas stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of that.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
So it's a grab bag show like usual.
Yep.
And like usual, check us out across all forms of social media. Twitter at SuperDivorce, Instagram at SuperDivorceBand, Facebook.com/SuperDivorce, the Divorce Club on Facebook, and then this program every Tuesday at SuperDivorceMe.com/Supercast. What do we have coming up on Super Fanatics this week?
Well, this week on Super Fanatics, we're either going to do Old Man Logan if we can find it, or we're going to keep in the Christmas spirit, and we're either going to do the Harley Quinn holiday special from her solo series, her newer solo series from the DC reboot, or we're going to do we're pretty sure there's a Moon Knight Christmas issue called Christmas Night, or it's got a clever name to it. But we're gonna do one of those three this week, and then on Super Scary on Saturday, we're gonna bring you Silent Night, Deadly Night. So, which is a movie I've seen once before, and
I've never seen it.
It's pretty good for your '80s Santa slashers. I think pretty bad, but pretty good at the same time.
Yeah. So those are our shows coming up, and Super Tokens, I have decided to close down shop.
Really?
Yeah, because, and I'd like to get back to it at some point, but the internet here is just too slow. I was having this issue where I would get done streaming, and then I'd look at Twitch, and the stream would be 20 minutes behind where I was, and it was buffering every 5 seconds. And so it's not a problem with the equipment I was using. I'm good to go on that. It's just I can't get the upload speed that I need here.
Right.
And I'm paying for the fastest internet that I can get in Lebanon, and it's just it's unbearable.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. So
that's crazy.
Until I can get a proper stream going because I wouldn't watch someone stream if it was buffering every few seconds.
Yeah.
It's you can't sit there and deal with that. So
right.
Maybe I'll do some reported shows just here and there.
Yeah.
But as far as sticking to that schedule, I just decided to shut it down because there's no point if it's unwatchable.
Well, at least we still have plenty of other shows for you guys to enjoy.
Yeah.
And our SuperDivorceMe.com just had a big redesign.
Yeah, so it's a little more user friendly.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of spelled out for you.
Right. So make sure to check out superdivorceme.com and see our new layout and everything, and browse around there, and
still your one-stop shop
for the whole Super Divorce Superverse. So yeah, enjoy this episode of the podcast, and we'll see you in the outro.
Bye-bye.
We are not getting a divorce.
We are not getting a divorce.
We are not getting a divorce.
It's the Super Divorce Supercast. I'm Nicholas.
I'm Bender.
Hope everyone's having a good day today. Once again, we're doing this right before we're releasing it.
Yeah, but hopefully that'll change this week, because I'm actually off work all damn week, and I'm having a good old staycation. So we might get, well, we'll definitely get farther in video shows.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've been thinking about it, and like I'm down to like record a couple podcasts ahead, but at the same time it's kind of like you almost want to wait for stuff to happen before we do this cast, because it's kind of like a current event on our lives cast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we can do like one or two out, but then it's kind of like,
I feel like interviewing, like having people on, those would be good ones to have tucked away.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then it's not as time sensitive, like you said. If you're talking to someone and you're kind of grilling them about their background info and all that stuff,
right,
that doesn't change over time. So it's...
Well, we gotta have more people on to interview then.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, if you want us to interview you, then just let us know.
Yeah, we'll have you on the show. Faux show. So I brought in a stray, well, not a stray, but a cat today, because it was just like at my back door, just like begging, and it's wearing a flea collar and a bell, but it doesn't have any tags or anything. So I was just like, well, guess I should probably figure this out tomorrow or something.
Are you gonna let it back out? Or are you gonna go?
Well, I'm gonna take it to the office and see at my apartment complex and see if they have like any files or anything, like, and if it matches any description. And if not, I thought about maybe trying to take it to a vet or a shelter to like see if it has a chip.
Mm-hmm.
And if neither of those works, then yeah, I'm probably just gonna put it back out on the street, because I can't keep it. Like, I have a dog and a cat already, and that's enough. Plus, this cat still has its claws, so I don't need it like tearing up my furniture or beating up my dog or anything. But it's very like sweet, and like came right up to me and purred immediately and just like let me hold it and all kinds of stuff.
Are you giving it a temporary name?
I have not. No.
Just cat.
Just cat. The cat that's upstairs.
Sounds like a movie.
Yeah, the cat upstairs. The cat that's upstairs.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, I fell asleep, but I started watching Jack Frost yesterday. It's fantastic.
Probably just as good as I remember it.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but maybe it's like after watching Children of the Living Dead, I like all of a sudden have a new appreciation for terrible movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Jack Frost is a terrible movie.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's really bad, but watching it, I was just like, this is good. This is what we need to be talking about on Super Scary.
Good, bad movies.
Yeah.
You know.
And it kind of made me think, like, I was thinking on the way over here, like, we have all of these sort of bad movies, and I feel like a lot of them kind of come out of the 90s almost, because in a certain light, like there's really good 80s movies, but technology has advanced, you know, so like even the really good 80s movies are still now like they're less than stellar compared to new movies, you know. But I was thinking, like, what all of these like bad movies that are kind of adored by certain people. They kind of come out from the 90s a little bit, and like, but it's kind of like, where are those movies now?
Well,
but I guess it's just like you don't fucking watch them because you think they're terrible.
Back then, and it might be coming back now a little bit with streaming services, but I believe a lot of those really awful 90s horror movies that, you know, just littered the shelves of Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, you know, they made their money off of their distribution deals through those video stores, you know, because they certainly, you weren't finding all these films at, you know, at Walmart or even Best Buy.
Right.
You know, they didn't have all these obscure for a reason. They're obscure for a reason, I should
like
say.
Santa's Sleigh and Jack Frost and Satan's Little Helper and like...
I mean, a lot of these movies, you'd see them maybe in the new release section at the video store, and some of them would stick around, but, you know, not all of them did, and then they'd just be gone.
Yeah.
And there was no internet, so I feel like there was more of like, I don't know, a charm to it in that sense, that some of these things could become like mythical at a point. Like, I guess when Children of the Living Dead first came out, that was like, you know, the internet was around in 2000 or 2001, but definitely not to the degree it is now. So we rented that one, and then if you couldn't find it to rent, you couldn't find it to buy, probably.
Right.
So these titles became remembered by certain people, and then their obscurity kind of built their legend in a way. And I guess now with streaming services, even though you do see some shitty horror movies and shitty action movies coming through Netflix or Amazon, you know, they're always going to be there, and maybe that availability kind of lessens their attractiveness.
Maybe, because like I'm just thinking, like, are we gonna look back like 15 years from now and suddenly there's gonna be a cult appreciation for Big Ass Spider or Dragon Wars, you know? I
don't know, and maybe it's because of that ease of access, but now, as opposed to back in the day, if you just like put on a shitty movie on Netflix, you can watch it for 5 minutes and just nope.
Yeah.
And then turn it off and scroll to something else.
Right.
But, you know, 15, 20 years ago, if you rent something and take it home, even if it's really shitty in the first 10 minutes, you're probably going to stick with it and at least finish it once, because you went out to the video store, you picked that movie out, paid for it, you're probably going to sit through it. So...
And I feel like a lot of straight to DVD horror now, while a lot of it does show up on Netflix, it's also kind of like everything seems to be a knockoff of something. Like, there's not an underground market for original horror movie. Like, Jack Frost is an original horror movie, not necessarily in concept, just I mean, like, it's not a knockoff of something else necessarily. But, like, you know, you go to Walmart and you look at these movies and it's like the Purging effect.
Yeah.
You know? And you're just like, well, or Krampus 2. Mm-hmm. Like, these are obviously just horrible trying to cash in on The Purge or Krampus or, like, whatever else.
It's like the straight-to-DVD market has kind of taken on the philosophy that we found out about, like, late 70s and 80s Italian horror movies.
Yeah.
Like, they have that philosophy where it's like they're only going to produce things that are knockoffs of things that have already been successful.
Right.
Like, that's the new underground horror market, if you will.
Like, I remember when Transformers came out, like, a couple weeks or a month or so before the movie came out, Transmorphers was available at Walmart, and, you know, and then there was an Avatar before there was Avatar, and this company, or these companies that make these movies, I read an article about it, and they were just saying, like, because people were people were like trying to sue them or disputing, like, well, you can't title your movie that and then release it like 2 weeks before the other one, and they were just kind of like, yeah, but our movie's different, so it's okay, you know. And I don't know, I think you're right, like the accessibility to it makes you not want to watch it because you don't have this like status like, oh my god, did you see this movie, it's so terrible, and then you go to the video store to find it and it's not there, and you go to Best Buy and it's not there, and you go to Walmart and it's not there, and you can't find it online because there wasn't internet.
And that search, that length of time, the longer it goes that you don't get to watch it, the more the myth builds up about it, you know,
like
you
how
see
bad
more.
is it,
and
then when you see it and it's terrible, you love it because it's so bad, and it feels like an accomplishment that you've finally found it. I guess that makes sense. It's kind of a bummer though, like, you know, I feel like the world moves so quickly now that it's hard to get that kind of a status, like to stop and, you know, think about, oh well, this movie is ridiculous and no one's ever seen it, because now everyone's seen everything. I thought we were so cool because we saw The Mutilator, and then like our buddies at Nostalgia Inc. were like, oh yeah, I've seen that movie. You know, it's, I don't know, it's weird. It's kind of a bummer, right? But on the flip side of the same coin, like, I don't take the time to watch a shitty movie on Netflix. You know, I'm not watching Rampage President Down. Directed by Uwe Boll, I think. Who had, like, he came out with Rampage.
He did House of the Dead, the movie. Yeah,
but he did this movie Rampage, and it was, like, kind of good. So he did like 6 more. And they just like got worse and worse and worse and worse. I've never seen House of the Dead.
It's really, really bad. There was a guy who did you ever go to somethingawful.com?
No.
Oh. It was I mean, it's still around today, but it was really big in like the early 2000s for their forum, and one of the guys who ran the site and did reviews, I think he reviewed one of Boll's movies, and it got back to you, or I don't know how you say his name. I've heard people say Uwe.
No, I'm pretty sure it's just you, Boll.
Whatever it is, the guy, you know, he heard about this review of one of his movies, and so he like challenged the guy to a boxing match. He was so pissed off.
That's what he would do too.
Yeah.
The man's crazy. Apparently did you ever see that he like made a big stink that he was retiring from filmmaking?
No.
He did that.
I have a problem with that in general. Yeah. Especially when it's someone shitty, but I hate that. I hate hearing about people supposedly retiring from either making music or making movies.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking stop making movies or stop making music if
you don't have to tell people.
Because most of the time it's bullshit.
Most of the time it's bullshit, or it's either bullshit or the person saying it, no one would care anyways.
Right.
You know? It's like, I can't even. That's like Nickelback being like, hey, we're going to stop making music. It's like, good, because no one fucking cares.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to tell us. You could have just stopped.
And then you've got, like, huge artists that do it. Like, I remember Jay-Z said that he was retiring after the Black album came out.
Yeah.
And that was, like, in 2003.
He's still
here we are.
Shit.
Yeah. So it usually never sticks.
Yeah.
And then you've got a band like Brand New who's, like, announced their retirement in advance. In, like, 2018, we're retiring. It's like, just...
Who cares?
Fuck off, then.
Yeah, for real. Like, if you tell somebody you're retiring in advance, it definitely makes me not... I've stopped caring right now, not when you retire.
Yeah. I don't know if it makes them feel like people are going to be so hyped about this last album. Like, this is it. Here's our swan song. And then we're done. This is us riding off into the sunset. Now let's all cry together. Like
MCR didn't, like, they weren't like, Killjoys is going to be our last album while they were touring the Black Parade,
Yeah.
they were just like, that was just out of left field. Like, all of a sudden they were just like, hey, by the way, we're breaking up. That's all you need to know.
I think the smart thing to do, if you feel like you've run out of creative juice as a band, is to just do what the Foo Fighters did several years ago when they were like, we're taking a hiatus.
Yeah.
We don't know how long it's going to be before we get back together and make new music, but we're not doing it for a while.
Right.
So don't expect any news. And then eventually they decided to get back together like most bands do. Even bands who say no chance in hell, never ever ever, like
System of a Down supposed to have a new album in 2017.
the Eagles did the same thing.
Yeah.
And then they got back together. Like the Smiths are supposedly getting back together for a reunion, even though Morrissey said for years and years and years, no, absolutely not. It'll never ever fucking happen. And well, out of the blue, yeah, we just decided that I think it's time. Like, you can't trust it.
Right.
So,
I don't know. That's the only thing that I hold on to in hopes that there will be an MCR reunion tour.
I have no doubt it'll happen at some point. I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those things that eventually the people who were behind the music decide that, well, we were fucking good at this, so why not? Like,
I hope so. We'll see. But so I know we've talked a little bit about it, but I've for our audience, I finally watched Batman vs Superman. So this long after it's come out, but it's now streaming on HBO.
and you watched the regular theatrical edition.
I believe so. I don't know how much longer the extended cut is, but I watched a 2.5-hour version of the movie.
I think the extended cut is an extra half hour.
So like 3 hours. Yeah. What all is in the extended cut?
I still haven't watched it.
Haven't watched it?
Because I just haven't, I'm not going to say I haven't had 3 hours since I bought it. It's just one of those things where sitting down to watch a 3-hour movie is an investment.
It is.
And so with other stuff that you haven't watched yet, you usually want to give your free time to that.
Right.
And so I haven't done it yet. I'm sure I will. I mean, I bought the damn thing, so I want to. And I've heard it's much better. And I liked the movie as it was in the theaters, so I'm sure that I'll probably like the extended cut even more.
I just worry. You know what I want, though? When they release an extended cut of a movie, I just want there to be an option on the DVD or on the Blu-ray where you can just watch all of the scenes that were added in that make it a half an hour longer. Just like back to back, no context, just like this is all of the footage that we added, because sometimes, a lot of times they're like, oh, we're releasing a director's cut, and then you watch it and it's just like a different angle on this fight scene. That's all the added footage, or two lines of dialogue.
I heard this adds a good deal. And
That's what I've heard
don't
too.
think that a half hour is that long, but if you imagine 15 scenes, for instance, getting an extra minute, you can do a good amount with that,
Right.
A conversation can go on for another minute longer. You could squeeze a good bit of storytelling in there, So I don't know exactly how it's split up, but that's pretty significant.
I don't know. I mean, I'd be interested to see it, but I gotta say, I don't think that I agree with you on Batman in the movie. I think Affleck did like an okay job. I think Christian Bale was better. I think I liked that he was dark and brooding, and like obviously they drive home that he's been Batman for 20 years, so like it's expected that he's kind of merciless, I guess, because I would imagine he's just like sick of it.
Yeah,
it's like over all of the criminals and stuff. But even with that, I don't know, somehow his brutality, and there wasn't a lot of examples of it, there were only 2 scenes where he really fought, like the nightmare scene and then towards the end. But I don't know. I didn't like that he was branding people. I thought that was just like, it was just a little over the top for Batman. I thought, like, any other time, like in Dark Knight Returns, the movie and the book, when he's very brutal in that, but he like cripples that one guy, but then says like he'll live and he'll walk again. And then later, that same guy, when Batman like is at his apartment when he gets home, and he just like walks towards him, and the guy falls out a window and like cuts his artery or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm still just like, that's brutal. But Batman didn't really do anything. Like, he hurt him in a way that sucks, but he'll heal. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't his fault that the guy fell out a window. I mean, he scared him. But then he still saved the guy too. But the whole like branding thing, and then the 2 people that had been branded eventually got killed in prison, it was kind of like, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then I will say, because we had a big discussion back when Bob was in the band about this, because Bob hated the movie.
Yeah, he did.
I have to agree with Bob. The whole car chase scene when Batman is in the Batmobile, he is killing people. He's straight up killing people. And I don't think that that's something that is part of Batman's character. The nightmare scene was fine. Like, I didn't like seeing Batman with a gun, but it's a nightmare. It is whatever, and it's a far dystopian future.
Yeah.
But I thought the car chase scene, even though they never show any bodies or anything, you have to imagine that, I mean, there's cars that are being driven that he is shooting with guns mounted on his Batmobile, and they're exploding. And then the first car that he rams into, and it kind of rolls over, I was like, okay, they're probably like hurt, but they're fine, he didn't kill anybody. So I was kind of doubting Bob at first. And then he attaches that tow cable to the car that he just hit and drags it all over the city. And I was like, no, those people are dead.
I don't think he cares at that point.
I guess, but even I know it can't be direct from the source material. Like, they're taking inspiration, and that's fine. But even in, like, the Dark Knight Returns, which is where they got a lot of inspiration for this version of Batman, he still didn't kill people. And I feel like in this one, he was, at times, just a merciless killing machine. And it didn't... I feel like it kind of... That's not the evolution that I wanted to see in the character. You know what I mean?
Well, but then he realizes that he's starting to lose himself. So I think it's like he's allowed to fuck up.
Yeah.
So and for him, that's admittedly out of character, but he's been pushed to a point that he's never been to before. Mm-hmm. And everything he's seen up until then has led to where he is at that point in the story. And he just, maybe extends the bounds a little bit or breaks them completely, knowingly. And then realizes that he's starting to become something he doesn't want to become.
Right. And
he has to reel it back in. So maybe it makes the struggle a little bit more crucial, in his own mind.
Yeah. To
realize that he has stepped over the line and he's very close to losing it completely.
Right. Well, and I feel like a lot of it is probably due to the fact that the DC cinematic universe kind of not expects, but there's a lot of it left open for you to fill in the blanks. Like, this being the first Affleck Batman, and he's been Batman for 20 years. What the hell happened for the whole 20 years that he was Batman? So you just have to fill it in. But as an audience member, at least maybe for me, and I think maybe like your typical moviegoer, I think I would have rather taken the Marvel approach where they had a Batman movie first and they show you at least one or two instances or something.
Yeah.
Even like 10 years into his career, or something like that. They pick it up there, and that's when things start to go bad. Jason Todd gets killed or something like that. And they show that in the movie, or they allude to it at least. But I think you do have to kind of force yourself to fill in, okay, well, it's been 20 years. He must have seen some shit. And that doesn't necessarily translate to the casual viewer, because we were talking about it at dinner the other night, and my mom was saying that she doesn't know anything about Marvel or anything about DC, but she certainly prefers Marvel movies to the DC movies because somehow Marvel is able to convey this like all audience enjoyment factor.
Yeah, they're much more they feel much more like a traditional comic book.
Yeah.
I think when people imagine a comic book movie, Marvel hits that on the head.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what DC did was they saw the success of the Nolan Batman movies and like, well, we want to do this for our entire universe to contrast with Marvel.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it is, but I feel like they've just missed the mark.
They have.
For one thing, like you said, the setup is weird to jump into it the way they have.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but like, yes, as a comic book fan, it's cool because a lot of the stuff that they talk about in the movie, you're like, oh, I know what that's alluding to, or
yeah,
are they going to show that storyline? Because that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing when Batman wakes up from the nightmare and then Flash is there, you're like, oh, this is obvious. This is Flash coming forward or running back in time. Are they going to address Flashpoint at all? Like, it's all it's very Star Wars. I mean, they've jumped in the middle, and so it's cool. But I think for your regular audience, it's harder to follow because they can't pick up on as many breadcrumbs as maybe you and I can.
Well, where it's different from Star Wars is like when you start with the original trilogy, you're coming into a brand new universe that you know nothing about,
right,
as a moviegoer at that point. And here we're dealing with characters that most people know about and have some idea of their origin, but they're not exactly sure what the origin is in this particular cinematic universe, so you're wondering about what's happened already and what's not,
right,
as opposed to going in completely blind and not knowing anything about characters like you would have when Star Wars first came out.
That's true.
There were no expectations about who Darth Vader was or, what happened to Anakin to make him go that direction, you know. So I feel like it is a little more jumbled dealing with the DC stuff because you have different origins, those stories have been told over and over again.
Yeah.
And you don't know exactly what happened here yet, what they're including, what they've chosen to include up to that point. So
right. I don't know. I liked the movie. Like I was, maybe I went into it with low expectations, but I liked it. I definitely think that like they need work. Like I'm glad that they're going with a dark aesthetic, but I feel like they're too dark almost. Not that I don't like dark things. I mean, obviously we have a whole YouTube show about scary movies.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, yeah, DC comics are definitely darker and more brooding than Marvel, and so I appreciate that they're trying to translate that into film, but I think they're like trying too hard, almost.
Well, that was the tone of the Watchmen book.
Yeah.
So I feel like Snyder did a good job with the movie.
Uh-huh.
Problem is when you're dealing with characters in an entire universe that doesn't necessarily have that tone, and you try and force it upon it, it's tricky. I don't think everything's missed the mark completely, but there are spots where it's just like, yeah.
I'm hoping, I think Wonder Woman was the best part of the film. I thought she was handled really well. I thought it was good casting.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she had a pretty small part, I still was glad that she was in it. It got me hyped for the Wonder Woman movie, but I'm also afraid that where it takes place, and I think it takes place during World War One.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm afraid that they're gonna try to darken, her story to fit it in with the rest of the universe. And really, if you think about it, I don't know very much about Wonder Woman, but at least Themyscira is beautiful. I mean, it's an island paradise.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to see all of that washed out with the gray filter that's over everything in.
But and I'm not saying they're equals here, but a lot of people had this complaint about the Michael Keaton Batman movies when they first came out, the first two anyway, is you had Tim Burton directing them, and a lot of people's familiarity with Batman, at least in a widespread sense, was the old TV show.
Right.
Because comics, I mean, yeah, they were big within their particular niche, but most people weren't reading comics. It was still kind of considered laughable if you would have known a grown man who was reading comic books in even the 80s. So when those movies came out, a lot of people were saying, oh, these are too dark. We want Batman to be funny like the old show and that kind of thing. And over time, they've become, classics, and people love them now. Not that they didn't have their audience back then, but
I think Tim Burton brings a sort of aesthetic to the Bat universe that is dark but closer to the comics. I mean, you still have kind of the Penguin riding around in a giant duck, and having his penguins with their rockets on their backs and stuff, and the Jack Nicholson Joker still has the super long gun, and everything, and the crazy outfits, and I just think that that was probably more in line with the comics at that time. I mean, I don't know what storylines were out when those movies were coming out.
That would have been around the time year one and Dark Knight Returns came out.
Yeah.
Few years, I guess.
Right, so you get sort of that, you don't get the brutality, you still get kind of your family-friendly Batman, so to speak, but the Gotham is darker, and the villains are a little more sinister. And I mean, Danny DeVito's Penguin is creepy, but I like that because I like that he made him darker, because obviously in the comics he's very refined, and especially in the 90s TV shows, always portrayed in a suit and with a monocle and everything, and I don't know, I feel like that's a better example of taking Batman to a darker place, more in line with the comics than Batman Superman. I don't know, I liked that that Affleck as Bruce Wayne was sort of emulating that Dark Knight Returns Batman. He has the face for it, the square jaw and everything, and he's muscular, and it was all cool. But I don't know, I wanted to see something else. Maybe I just love Dark Knight Returns too much. It bothered me in the fight with Superman and Batman that he weakened Superman before fighting him. Because in the comic, he doesn't, it's a last thing. It's a last ditch effort to beat him. He kind of beats him, before having to hit him with kryptonite. And so when he did that in the movie, I was kind of like, come on, don't be a pussy.
Well, I can understand, just because they were trying to take a more, I guess, grounded approach to it.
Right.
So if you know what Superman can do, it wouldn't make sense if you could do something beforehand not to do it.
Right. You can't have Batman in that metal suit just like beat the shit out of Superman and then hit him with kryptonite, and then later in the movie have Doomsday like beat the crap out of Superman, because then you're like, well, what can Superman even do then?
Yeah.
So like I understood it. I thought it was cool. I thought the kryptonite grenades were cool. I was glad that they kept that great scene from Dark Knight Returns where Batman just like sucker punches Superman right into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That was I noticed that, and that was cool.
And I really like Cavill as Superman.
Yeah, I do too.
I think he does a good job.
I think he's really good. I think Gal Gadot is really good as Wonder Woman. I'm disappointed with Affleck's Batman. I'll say that because I was hoping, I had high expectations for him because everybody was doubting. And I was like, come on, like he'll probably be fine. And so I went in like hoping he was gonna be fine, or thinking he was gonna be fine, and I was a little let down, I feel like.
I was pleased as punch.
No, you were.
But I'm a big Affleck fan in general, so
No, I like him. I don't have any, like, I don't hate him at all or think he's a bad actor at all. I don't know. I wasn't terribly impressed with his Batman. I still think I preferred Christian Bale. Even that weird-ass voice he does when he's in the cape and cowl.
I thought the voice modulation in the new movie was pretty cool.
I did like that. I thought that was neat, too.
The electronic feel to it.
Mm-hmm. I didn't mind that at all. There was something else that... I guess he has it in the comics, but I wasn't too stoked that Batman's suit was like bulletproof and knife proof and stuff. Like they address it in the Bale Batmans.
Yeah.
Because they give him a suit with like inlaid with Kevlar armor and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, Lucius says like, oh, this will stop a bullet, but be careful with knives because of your joints and things like that. Mm-hmm. And it was more lightweight. So like they address that, and he has it. But in this one, that scene where he attacks all the soldiers towards the end in the building, they're just like shooting him and cutting him and all this stuff, and everything is just like bouncing off. I mean, even the one guy shoots him right in the back of the head twice. Yeah. And he's just like, oh, and then punches him. I was kind of like, oh, okay, all right, but I don't know about that, really. Like, he got shot at point-blank range in the head. Your armor can stop it, that's fine. But then to just, like, turn around and keep fighting and then also go fight Doomsday, it's kind of like, you're going to have a headache.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, I don't know. It was just a lot of little things that I felt like were slightly compromising. Or just different. It was a different iteration of the character than we've been given before.
But you've never dealt with Batman in a movie after he's been Batman for 20 years.
No, you haven't.
So
unless you watch the animated version of Dark Knight Returns. Yeah.
So you don't know. I mean, maybe it's not as absurd when you think about the fact that he's been doing it for so long, where it's like over this, maybe not night one, he would have had the resources that he does at this point, but if you've been Batman for 20 years, maybe you have thought, I should probably put some time into preparing for a situation where someone tries to shoot me point blank in the back of the head. Yeah. Can I plan for that? And then you figure out some way to make it work.
Right.
there's a lot of time that's gone on there where you don't see the development process. Or
Well, yeah, exactly. Once again, you're left as the viewer to fill in a lot, or to wonder, as we're doing, to wonder what's been happening up to this point, because we haven't been given a movie to tell us.
Yeah. So you can kind of fill in the blanks and try and make it work, or you can
wait for Affleck's solo movie.
Yeah. Which I have pretty high hopes for, because stuff that he's written and directed on his own has been incredible.
And I know he loves the character.
Yeah.
He's very much like the Ryan Reynolds of the DC universe, because Ryan Reynolds is just like so in love with Deadpool.
Yeah.
And just wants to give the best performance he can. And I feel like Affleck's the same way. He's a huge Batman fan. So he'll want to do the character justice. I know he will.
I remember reading, I think Kevin Smith was talking about how when people were like doubting Affleck at first, like he came out and said, you have to understand, this guy in his office has like a secret passage that opens up the same way that the Batcave, like the entrance to the Batcave on the old TV show, like he has that same setup in his office that goes into like a secret hidden room.
Oh my god!
It's like he loves the character,
right?
And he was a big Daredevil fan too.
I thought he was great as Matt Murdock in Daredevil. I mean, for the time that movie came out, I thought it was awesome. I think it was a very good representation of the character. Bullseye was a little weird, but still stayed true to kind of his powers, for lack of a better word. I mean,
I feel like at that point, all the movies, the comic movies, were trying to like kind of not be comic booky in a way.
Yeah, they were trying to be like gritty, real.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so you had like the X-Men without their suits, and Daredevil's was more like, it was like the leather.
Yeah, it was
didn't
more
look
street.
bad.
No, it was better than the X-Men.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm still salty that the X-Men haven't been given their proper 90s costumes.
Yeah.
In the movies. I mean, I think Apocalypse, you definitely had Psylocke dead on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is ripped right from the page, and I appreciated that. Even I haven't seen Apocalypse yet.
I haven't either. But I didn't see any of the other newer X-Men films.
Oh, really? I thought a lot of people thought Days of Future Past was hard to follow, and I didn't think so. You just have to keep track of like where they're jumping in time, which is not hard, I don't think. I liked Days of Future Past a lot. First Class is really good. But I thought Apocalypse, some of the newer ones they were introducing, like Storm comes in again, but she's classic Storm with the mohawk. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Psylocke comes in. And they kept true to their costumes. But still, your main characters of the movie are still in those weird, just like jumpsuits.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going on with that. Like, part of the appeal for me in X-Men is the costumes, because they're so awesome and they're so diverse and weird.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know how that goes. Been a long weekend for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of family
Can
in
tell.
and out. People in and out. Just, it's been like playing a tower defense game, trying to keep the house kind of clean.
Right.
It's like as soon as you get one thing taken care of, it's like there are 10 other things that have popped up.
Right.
That you've been, while you've been busy. So you try and take care of those, and more stuff is just piling up. And so it's calmed down a bit today, but we still had a bunch of people over earlier in the afternoon. So it's like, yeah, nice to have a little peace and quiet.
Right.
So I like having people over. I like entertaining and having a big group gathering, but it's definitely, you get to a point where you're welcoming the return to normalcy.
Right.
People start filing out.
For sure. Well, a lot of shit went down this weekend, though. I mean, aside from you entertaining, we got a lot of announcements.
Yeah.
A lot of big announcements.
Yeah, I got,
particularly The Last of Us 2.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Did you expect that?
I don't want to be like, yeah, I expected it. But, I had heard rumors that they were going to announce something, that they had a big announcement for the PlayStation deal.
It's specifically Last of Us related? Or
like Naughty
just
Dog.
Naughty Dog.
So, what do you think that's going to be?
Right.
It was either new campaign content for Uncharted, or else it's Last of Us finally.
Yeah.
Or
they're just going to revive Jack and Daxter.
Yeah. So I kind of expected that was going to be it, just because it's been so long, and I don't think anyone really believed that they wouldn't do a sequel. So every time one of these big award shows or something of that nature comes up, people start talking about maybe this will be the time where they finally come out and just tell everyone, yeah, we're working on it. Here's a little something.
Right.
I was surprised with the length of the trailer that they showed.
Yeah.
Even though it was only like a teaser, I thought that when the game got announced, it would be almost something like within the first 10 seconds of that video, where you start zooming out and you just see the scenery.
Yep.
I thought you would get the scene, a familiar looking overgrown neighborhood and a rusty car with weeds and vines over it, and it would just say Last of Us 2.
Right. Or when the camera pulls all the way back and you see the Firefly logo on that sign.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the video was going to cut right there. Just be Last of Us 2. Because that's what a lot of announcements are.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 12-second video of just here's a forest.
Yeah.
Here's a logo from the game that you might recognize. Here's the title.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole rendered scene with Ellie and Joel and the bodies in the house and everything, it was...
Because I was surprised about the fact that they revealed those two characters right off the bat. Because that was one of the biggest points of speculation, where people were asking, okay, when they finally do announce number 2, do you think it's going to be Ellie and Joel again? Or are we going to get new characters? Or Ellie and Joel going to be characters that maybe you cross their paths at some point?
Yeah.
Where is it going to take place in the timeline? All that stuff. But they answered a lot of questions just by revealing those two in that trailer.
And then Ellie's... what she's going to do.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't say anything, all she says is, I'm going to find them and kill them all.
Yeah.
You're just oh God, what the fuck happened to Ellie?
Mm-hmm.
Who messed with her? Who killed somebody? Who did this? Who did that? How many are there? Is it a group? Are they the Fireflies? What's going on? But you still have a very definite, you are going to be playing as Joel and Ellie most likely.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be their story, their continuation. They are still together.
Yeah.
And it's been obviously kind of a while, because Ellie has a tattoo in the trailer.
I think they said 6 years later, so she'd be 19.
So they're still and they're still together. So you have to.
Though I did hear about a fan theory that someone suggested that maybe she was just imagining Joel, and that she's really by herself. So you only have Joel popping up when she's sort of hallucinating or something like that, because she's been through all this trauma.
I don't think I would like that.
Him. I want both of them to actually be playable characters.
Yeah.
When it comes out, but it's something someone suggested, and then I was talking to Jason about it, and I was like, well, maybe Joel will be your character that you hold triangle and Ellie starts playing the guitar, and then you go into Joel time and summon his ghost, and then he flies in, and you can use Joel's ghost to see past doors.
I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that.
I know.
Well, what if, do you think the dynamic would work if you were sort of able to play as both and switch maybe on the fly?
Yeah, where some games in the past, I was thinking of Resident Evil 0, where you have to like switch between characters to solve puzzles, you know,
Right.
and you know, have one character go this way and then you have to switch back to the other one to do something else. I mean, I don't know how that works now.
Sometimes the AI can be kind of wonky when you get into that territory. Like the character you're not playing doesn't quite act the way you want them to. So, I don't know. I really liked, you know, I kind of hope maybe they'll set it up similarly to the first one where you are primarily one character, but you have times where circumstances arise where you get to play as the other character.
I feel like with her being older now, people are going to want to play as her in a larger portion of the game.
Yeah.
So maybe if they can pull it off in a way that makes sense, allowing people to choose who they want to be at any time would be the most pleasing option for the fans. If you're worried about fan service in that sense, they might not be. I mean, I think Naughty Dog has a vision for their shit and they kind of stick to it.
I hope so.
No matter what people are clamoring for.
Yeah.
So,
because I mean, you get, you know, obviously The Last of Us is just incredible, but you know, I really have high expectations for the game because Uncharted 4 was so good.
Yeah.
And the same, you know, the Last of Us team handled Uncharted 4, and I just keep thinking, like, you know, the graphics of that game and the mechanics and the way it played, you know, I don't expect to see like a rope swing in Last of Us, but the ease to like duck and cover and to fist fight or to shoot, like, you know, I'm hoping that obviously those mechanics will make a return to the game and they'll be much more refined like they are in Uncharted. I mean, Uncharted just played so well.
yeah.
I mean, the platforming, the action, everything about it was so seamless, and it really gives me like The Last of Us, it has a different dynamic to it, but I just like, I have very high expectations.
Well, then the other one that I have very high expectations for is Death Stranding.
Yeah.
They, you know, gave us that amazing trailer. It was
It's like a whole 9 minutes, wasn't it?
I think it was like 5.
Was it?
Yeah. Maybe with like the introduction.
Yeah.
The video would have been around that time, but which is still a pretty good amount of time.
Absolutely.
Showing off a game that, you know, what's impressive is that you give people a 5-minute trailer and they still don't know shit about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Still have
There are a
no
lot of
idea what's going
clues.
on.
And something really cool, I don't know if you saw this, if you play the first trailer and the newest one, like if you start them at the same time, there's a point in the first trailer where Norman Reedus is holding a baby and then it disappears.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that, but
Yes.
And he's like out on the beach or whatever. Like when the baby disappears from him is the exact moment that it appears in that machine that Guillermo del Toro is holding.
Really?
Yeah. So like when you see Guillermo del Toro like messing with something, like flips a switch and then turns it and there's like a baby inside of it.
Yeah.
Like at that same moment is when Norman Reedus like looks down and the baby's gone. It's like, holy shit.
Kojima is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's a 5-minute trailer. I still have no fucking idea what that game is about, or what's gonna happen, or how it's gonna be played. Is it third person? Is it first person? Is it stealth? Is it action? Is it story? Is it horror? Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know. I think it'll be rad.
Yeah. It's like, it looks like what I would imagine it would be like just to enter one of Hideo Kojima's dreams at night.
Probably.
Just absolutely insane.
Yeah. Have you seen, well, did you ever get around to playing the demo for RE7? Resident Evil 7? Did you? What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty cool. And I played the demo that they had for the VR as well.
Really?
It was just called Kitchen.
Uh-huh.
And you're like in this kitchen in the same house from the demo. And there's like a creepy lady who's just like getting in your face. She's like insane, you know. It's pretty cool.
I've been, I was watching videos the other day, and knowing that the game is fully playable in VR, and then watching these videos, I was just like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Like, I will shit my pants playing this game in VR. It is intense.
Yeah.
Like, super crazy. There was one portion where the guy's walking down the hall, and then a dude just busts through the wall at him and just like whacks him with a shovel. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I will never play this in VR. Unless I'm trying to pee myself.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be really cool, though.
Yeah.
It might be the first kind of blockbuster of the VR.
Absolutely. Because the graphics look good on it.
Yeah. And everything else has been like, we've got some fun stuff to tinker around with, but we haven't had any full-blown releases where people are really looking forward to playing something on the VR in particular.
Right.
Where it might actually end up being better than the regular version, So I feel like a lot of things that came out with like motion controls for the Wii that were also on like, the...
Hey, Laz.
But a lot of things that came out for, like the Wii that were also on Xbox or PlayStation, the Wii was always the inferior version.
Yeah.
Even if they tried to push like how cool it was with the motion controls, it still wasn't quite on par with the other ones.
Right.
This might be a case where the gimmicky version, so to speak, is actually the better one.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's going to be pretty rad. But what else? So we got a Guardians of the Galaxy 2 trailer, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
That's an example of like that's your stark contrast right there between Marvel and DC. I mean, Guardians looks action packed, but there's still like tons of humor. It's a bright movie.
Yeah.
There's lots of there are planets and galaxies and aliens and all this kind of stuff, and I don't know, I'm really looking forward to it. I think Baby Groot is going to steal the show.
Yeah.
I love the whole button scene with him and Rocket. And he's, I am Groot. I am Groot. It's like, no! It's super awesome. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
It's your next big Marvel release.
I'm already looking forward to seeing Doctor Strange in another Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
Whether it's the next Doctor Strange or if he's going to be... I'm guessing he's going to be involved in the next Avengers.
I feel like he's going to show up in Infinity War, yeah. I don't know how they're going to do it, but man, if I had my way, I'd see all the Avengers, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, along with Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Vision, and Falcon, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and the Guardians, like all in Infinity War. That would be amazing. Don't know if it's going to happen.
Well, did you mention Thor or Captain America?
Not Thor. Captain America, yes.
Okay.
I didn't mention Thor, but Thor, yes, also.
And the Asgardians.
Sif and the other what are they called? The Mighty Three or something?
Is Baldur one of them?
I think so. Sif, Baldur, and I don't know. I don't know much about Thor either, other than like the movies. But I know these three have like they've had their own comic before.
Yeah.
It's like the Mighty Three or something. But getting all of those characters into a movie would just be insane. But possible, I think. I mean, that's
you can
what
still cross your fingers that at some point the X-Men will make their way in.
How amazing would it be if we got an AVX movie?
Oh yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
Just like, oh man, because you could just pile characters into it.
yeah.
I mean, even if you had your core team of like Wolverine, Storm, Rogue, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Beast, and Cyclops, even if you just had your core team, but then you also had all of the, you know, the Avengers, new and old, that would just be so insane. I don't know though, because Old Man Logan's supposed to be Hugh Jackman's last Wolverine movie.
Well, I feel like we've heard that before. I'm pretty sure that he was supposed to be done after, I think it was maybe the last one. I thought that was supposed to be his final appearance.
The second Wolverine movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. I was fairly sure that he at least we knew he was going to do more than just Wolverine Origins and the Wolverine. I never saw the Wolverine.
Oh, you didn't?
Mm-mm.
It was really good. It's more understated, you know, like it's not a Michael Bay Wolverine movie,
right?
Which is cool.
Yeah,
it's very much like the comic book that it's based on.
Is that the Claremont, Chris Claremont comic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
drawn by Frank Miller.
Yeah, I need to see that. I'm pretty behind on Marvel stuff. Like I said, I haven't seen Apocalypse. I haven't seen The Wolverine. And then I never saw Ant-Man, Civil War, or Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I still need to watch Ant-Man. I've heard it's good.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything bad about it.
Well, he's another one that should show up in Infinity.
Yeah. Just one that I didn't get around to seeing, and
yeah, I don't know. I need to. The shitty thing about Marvel movies is that they retain their value, so they're like $30 still for like a Blu-ray at Walmart or Best Buy, and they never go down. And it's just like, I want this, but I could buy like 6 horror movies.
Yeah. I wonder if the Hulk will ever get another solo film.
As far as I know, there's like no plans for it, which is a bummer because Ruffalo is such a good Hulk.
Yeah.
And Bruce Banner. I think he's in Thor Ragnarok. I think they're trying to put elements of Planet Hulk into Thor Ragnarok because that's what everybody was asking for. They all wanted a Planet Hulk movie. But I don't know. I would hope he gets a solo film. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Black Panther movie. I think that'll be sweet. I mean, I'm not familiar with the character because I haven't seen Civil War, but I mean, I know who he is and everything. I think it'll be cool to have that come out, but that's not for a while.
Yeah.
Rogue One comes out next week.
Did you get tickets yet?
No, not yet.
You gonna see it opening night?
I don't know. I don't know if I'll see it opening night.
I think because it's not a main entry, I don't feel as compelled to go and see it that night when it comes out.
Like, I definitely want to see it like opening week.
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe it comes out next Friday, the 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe even like going to see it the following Wednesday.
I just don't feel like I have to be there that night like I probably will when episode 8 comes out.
I think I want to be there opening night, but I'm not going to force myself to get out there and see a midnight release or anything. Like, I'm fine waiting a couple days, waiting through the weekend.
If it's in the cards and I end up doing it, then cool. If not, I'm just...
Right. Yeah. But I don't want to downplay how excited I am for it because I think it looks really, really, really good. I think they have really, you know, they're really putting a lot of effort into it. There's going to be a lot of aliens, a lot of creatures. You know, I watched a little behind the scenes thing today that was about the creature creation and stuff, and it's crazy. It's uncanny. Like, just, you know, they're filming like on set or whatever, and there's just aliens just walking around, like, you know, their eyes move and their mouths move and like everything, and it's just people in costumes, but they're so incredibly real looking. You know.
So I haven't seen that. Does it look like they've kind of tried sticking with the same philosophy that Abrams brought to it, where it was like, we're not going to rely heavily on CG stuff?
Even background characters are like people in costumes. Yeah, even background aliens and stuff are costumed people.
Well, it's good that if any series, if any franchise deserves that type of treatment, that's where you need to go for it.
Yeah.
I know it's probably much more expensive to have all that stuff made and to hire actors to go and show up on set and
right.
provide food for all those people,
and spend hours in makeup.
Yeah, but the final product, it all adds up.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think not the only CGI character, but I think the only full CGI character is K2SO, the droid. Because he's big and tall, and he doesn't have human proportions. Yeah. So I think he's full CGI, but that doesn't bother me so much as a droid. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, the CGI portions of R2-D2 in the prequel trilogy, they weren't all that bad.
Yeah. And that was years ago.
Yeah. So this is gonna look even better, I think. But very excited for that. There's a lot coming out.
Yeah. And we're gonna, if we don't cover Old Man Logan next week, then we're gonna do Star Wars, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do Heir to the Empire.
If I can't find my Old Man Logan comic, then that's what we're gonna talk about.
Which is gonna be cool because that's my favorite Star Wars story ever I've ever read. Well, part of a trilogy, my favorite Star Wars stories. So that'll be fun. Did you ever find the did you look for the Moon Knight Christmas issue?
I forgot about that. I need to.
Because I think we can either do that this week or we can do I found the Harley Quinn holiday special, so we could do that one as well. It's like an anthology. It's 2 Christmas stories and a New Year's story. So yeah, so if you still want to look for the Moon Knight issue, we can do that, but we can do Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I'll check around for it.
What else was I going to tell you? There's a lot. I felt like I had a lot to tell you today. Oh, I finally worked things out with the CBCS, and my comics are on their way too.
Well, I don't think you do. You don't know what the grades were.
I tried to look up what the grades were, by logging into, I made an account and tried to log in to see what the grades were, and I couldn't find it, but I definitely found a shipping order and everything under my account. So
I just got my comic that I sent away to have graded. Just got that back today. It was the Ultimate Spider-Man #1 white variant, and got graded a 9.6.
Which is damn good.
Yeah.
For those who don't know. Wasn't it a 9.4 or a 2?
I think it was a 9.2 before.
As a CGC?
That was just from the comic shop.
I
think.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't a professional, licensed grade.
It was their guess.
Yeah, that's why I sent it out to have it graded for real this time. So, yeah, it's a pretty good score.
Well, yeah, hell yeah. Going from a 9.2 to a 9.6 is a nice surprise. Mm-hmm. That's very cool.
So I was looking at the date on the little packing slip, and it was 9/11 was the date that we sent those out. That was when that convention was. Yeah. So took a few months to get it back, but I'd had it for 10 years or so at this point. Not that long to wait.
Yeah, so I'm waiting on Saga #1, first print. The first Deadpool solo comic. The first issue of his ongoing series, because he had a 4-part solo issue or a 4-part solo series prior to, but it's Deadpool #1 from 1994. That was the first issue of his ongoing series. And also Spider-Gwen, Edge of Spider-Verse, #2, signed by all of Spider-Gwen's creators. So I'm excited to get those back.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what the grades are. It's kind of nice that it's going to be a mystery till I open it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have liked to find it online today.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be like a fun game.
Be a very momentous occasion if you open it up and see a 10, you know.
Yeah, right. Like anyone has ever given out a 10. I'm hoping for... On the Spider-Gwen, I'm hoping for a 9.6 or 8 if I'm like super lucky. But like all of those signatures plus a high grade like that,
Yeah.
you know, would be really awesome. Saga, I'm guessing around a 9.4,
Mm-hmm.
and then I maybe 9.2, but I didn't really do much to it. And then I wouldn't be surprised if the Deadpool issue came in at a 9 or below, like an 8.9 or 8.5 or something, just because it's an older issue.
Yeah.
And I bought it from a Half Price Books. So I'm not expecting like a super high grade, but it was in really good condition. So we'll see. Hopefully I get them soon.
Yeah.
I'm like starting to get packages like left and right because
Yeah.
I ordered like some stuff on Black Friday, and I ordered like Black Christmas from Scream Factory, and I had to make 3 separate orders for Lindsay's Christmas present, and like I ordered your Christmas present. Like, so it's just like stuff is just like coming all the time. It's nice though. It's fun.
I like that though.
Yeah.
Like receiving mail consistently. It's always exciting.
Yeah.
Come home and there's something waiting for you.
Yeah. I got like in like a couple days I got like my Black Friday order from Fright Rags. I got your Christmas gift. I got part of insane. I got part of Lindsay's Christmas gift today. I ordered it on Friday.
Wow.
They shipped it. I don't know what the fuck they did. They shipped it like over the weekend, and it came today.
Did you get it from Amazon?
I got it on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I know Amazon like does shipping on Sundays now.
Do they?
Mm-hmm. So maybe eBay's doing that too, like during the holidays anyway.
I don't know, but I still ordered it like Friday night after I got off work from, and you know, eBay is like, you know, there's shops and stuff, but it's mostly you're relying on people to take product from their shop or their home or whatever and send it to you. Shit came today. I don't even know how.
It's a good turnaround.
Yeah. Like,
You better rate them highly.
I'm going to, because that was insane. But I'm just waiting on some other stuff. Then I have to get my sisters some gifts.
I have a few more things to buy, but I'm doing pretty well. I'm pretty caught up. So.
Oh, have you seen those wrestling figures that are zombies?
Yeah.
Did you buy all of them for Lazarus?
Yeah, he's got... I think he's missing one.
Which one?
He is missing Paige.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I will buy it for him.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure I was at a Walmart recently and I saw Paige.
Did you?
Pretty sure.
That's the only one that I haven't come across yet, because I picked them all up like immediately. They were released in October.
Uh-huh.
And so I think over the course of like just 2 trips, I ended up finding all of them except Paige. And I hadn't ordered her offline yet, so.
Pretty sure the Walmart in Mason has a Paige. I'll buy it for him for Christmas.
Okay.
And if they don't have it, I'll order it.
That works.
But you have a tendency to just like buy all of the things in one what do you call it, like I don't know, series.
Yeah.
One series, you know, around the holidays. It's hard. It's hard to buy your wife things because just like, hey, I can get her this, and you're like, oh, I got her all of that already.
Yeah. Well, it saves time.
Yeah, I guess so.
Rather than getting one thing and then having to hunt down the rest of them later.
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe I shouldn't buy all these right now, but maybe I should.
Yeah.
For different reasons. Save myself time, but I'm also going to put myself out for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes ill-advised purchases can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well, I think that's about all I had for today.
yeah. So maybe throughout this week we'll get, I don't know, caught up at least one ahead or something.
I think we should shoot for more, but yes, definitely one ahead.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get somebody to come on the show with us.
I don't want to do too far in advance because I want to do like a post-Christmas episode that's fresh. So we can talk about all the shit we got.
Yep.
And gave and
Yep.
have a fun little Christmas show. So,
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But if we can get this is our first cast of December.
Yeah.
Maybe if we can just get the first 3 weeks of or 2 weeks of shows put together, and then, you know, that way, well, really we should try to get 3 weeks ahead. That way we don't have to work like on Christmas or Christmas week or whatever, and then we can have a fresh cast the Tuesday after Christmas. Because it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday this year. Christmas Eve is like Saturday and Christmas is on a Sunday.
Oh.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just a nice Christmas weekend.
Isn't that pleasant?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that's it for this week. So we will we'll talk to you guys soon. And I do want to mention real fast that well, you know what? You heard it. I talked about it on the intro. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
And I'll talk about it more in the outro.
Yeah.
Quickly, but anyway, whatever.
We'll see you in the outro then.
Bye.
Bye. Outro time.
There you go. There's another program down, and that means you can start counting down until the next one.
Yep. 7 days. You'll die in 7 days.
But before you die, you will get more stuff from us.
Yep. You'll get Super Token Show and Tell on Wednesday.
I might do that still.
We might do that still. We don't know. Super Tokens, we talked about it in the intro, but we're having some trouble with the tokens.
Yeah.
The machine is not accepting.
Right. It's out of order right now.
Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But you can definitely look forward to Super Fanatics on Friday and Super Scary on Saturday, and this podcast next week. So we still got some stuff for you. And you know what? Really, if Super Tokens is out of order right now, that just means we have more time to work on our music.
That's right. And we are working on it. That's why we're trying to use this week, with Bender being on staycation, to really get caught up on our video shows. If we can knock those out, that's going to leave a good amount of time this month to really dig into the music.
That's right.
And hopefully have something ready for you guys very soon.
Yes. So, again, in the meantime, you can check us out at facebook.com/superdivorce. On Instagram, it's at SuperDivorceBand. Twitter, at SuperDivorce. Snapchat, at SuperDivorce. And then you can check out the Divorce Club on Facebook. Or you can email us at divorceclub@superdivorceme.com.
Still waiting on an email.
But we did get a message from somebody in Australia on Reddit. So,
yeah, that was really cool.
So shout out to that guy.
Thank you. Kale.
Kale.
Yeah.
That's
Cale.
Totally an Australian name.
Yeah.
But shout out to that dude. He's awesome. He actually prompted our website redesign, which was nice. We got feedback and we took it to heart and did something with it. You see what happens, people?
All you have to do is just get in touch.
Yeah.
We listen.
So
we're not going to blow you off unless your ideas are shit. But then we'll at least thank you for getting in touch with us.
Right. So, yeah, we'll see you this weekend on YouTube, and we'll see you next week back on the podcast.
Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Super Divorce.